we stumbled across just one of the sort of like laundry room bins full of telephones, and each one of them had these tags on them. So we're just like,
Show and Sell.
Hello and welcome to Show and Sell, the show that celebrates digging through other people's trash. Hello, Trash Dragons. I am Chris, Trash Dragon of the West.
Is that sensual?
Mr. Blankenship.
Hi, Mr. Blankenship.
And he says you should like, share, subscribe, and that I sell on eBay and Discogs.
And I'm Katie, and I'm Trash Dragon of the South, and I am always on the hunt for clothing and accessories, also anything sparkly. And this time of year, I'm on the hunt for sure for cool, spooky items.
Ooh! And I'm Joe, Trash Dragon of the East. I also like spooky items, and I like a little bit of everything. I can't even I'm a little bit under the weather health-wise today, so it's hard for me to really get into it. But let's just say I like stuff.
All right, then let's go to Item of Joy.
The thing that brought you joy.
All right, the thing that brought you joy. Joe, do you want to go first?
I do want to go first, because I have to show you. I have to send you a picture. It's all queued up. It is a welded cast iron lectern. It is about 4 feet. It's about 4 feet tall. It's it's solid. It's heavy. It's great It's great for outdoor experiences. In fact, my sister used it for her wedding. Among other things.
Outdoor weddings, yeah.
Yeah. So if you are getting married next summer and you are looking for a lectern, talk to me now, because this item can't last at these prices.
Actually, Joe, how heavy is the lectern?
It's about probably 70 pounds, 60, 70 pounds.
Yeah, decently heavy. Okay, yeah. That's the only thing I know. I have a couple cast iron pots, and I every time I'm going to use it. That's my impersonation of my arm not being able to lift. That's my impersonation of me trying to lift a pan.
But,
I got noodle arms! Wow!
Katie, why did you go?
Okay. So one of the places that I mostly sell online, but I do like to sell in consignment stores when I can find them. And so I don't sell currently in Nashville, but I do sell in Kentucky. And so I went in to collect my dollars, because I had made some money on my last clothing drop-off. And I found these really cool vans that I'm super excited about. And I'm going to try to get up close and show a picture.
Cherub.
And then not cherub.
Oh my god.
Skeleton.
Whoa.
Not cherub.
I didn't even notice the little skeletal cupid.
That is so great.
So it's cherub and skeleton cherub. And they are actually white suede, which are I like that when Vans does it, because they'll last a lot longer in suede. And
I've never seen a kind of call and response shoe before.
So they're a special edition. I looked them up, and they came out a few years ago, and they're called Love You to Death. Is the collab. And I don't know a lot about the designer, but I know that they're pretty collectible, because of course they are, because the design is great. The design is really good on them. So, anyways, I was really excited to find them, and to find them for $30. It's pretty good, because generally when you can get a collectible van, you can sell for higher, but these are my size. So I think these will probably not leave my feet, because I'm into them.
Katie, it'll enter Katie's museum of things she can't get rid of.
Actually, this is probably going to get loved to death. I'm not kidding. I do tend to wear the same shoes over and over, regardless of how many I have, and these look about right for that. These are going to get loved to death. Yeah. And then I'm going to get a really fine Sharpie, one of those ultra fine, and draw it back when it fades away. That's what's about to happen. That'd be great. I have plans for these. But also, $30 is a lot for me to spend on shoes, so I liked them, because I was like, I didn't, and if it's 30, I'll be like, That's a
but
lot.
those are
That's
good.
better be an amazing item. And so these are like, I'm going to get my use out of these $30 shoes.
Yeah, for a $30 shoe for one shoes you're going to wear is actually a great
That's
deal.
that's the reason I was okay with it. And also because I had store credit because I had sold there, it was all
You got that
all
money.
right. But yeah. Anyways, that I was a real joy. It's a
That is
real
a good
joy.
one.
That's
Super
great.
joy. What
That's
about
so-
you, Chris?
So
Yeah.
my landlord slash neighbor,
Really?
so she had a yard sale, and I think she was a little bit overwhelmed. So I ended up like I kind of noticed this because it was happening right outside my bedroom window, and I'm like, all right, it seems like it's a little. Her setup is something seems a little weird. So I went out and I'm like, do you need a hand and just someone to hang out while and keep an eye on the stuff while you're bringing stuff in? So I did. So I got a firsthand view of all the stuff. I bought like a box set of 14 singles from like this Australian punk label that was still sealed. And she was just like, I'm like, how much you want for that? She's like, $25. I'm like, great. And I sold it for $135 the next night on Discogs.
What was the label?
You're not
Missing
watching
Link?
this list, huh?
Missing Link, was that the label, or
It was Danger House.
okay?
But it was like all kind of like I don't know if it was a reissue label, but it was like the Saints and stuff like that.
Right on.
You know that. But the thing that since I don't even have that anymore, the thing that brought me joy is really and this is something I rarely bring, which is cookware. She had these plates. This is a bowl with like kind of mid-century modern-y designs.
The atomic.
Yeah, atomic age designs. So it has its matching plates.
Those are
Nice.
great. Who makes them?
I don't know. Oh, Taylor Stone. It's Cafe. I looked at like I was going to research these, and I looked up behind the bowl, and I'm like, oh, they don't have the name. But then I looked at the plate. I'm like, yeah, they have it on the plate.
It's the weird thing about some cookware. Like sometimes, like some of them are stamped and some of them aren't. So that's why you always have to like check multiple. You always have to check multiple.
It's something I'd like to be good at, by the way. Knowing what's
Plates.
valuable in cookware. I found something the other day that had like, it was like a Culver and it was a glass top and it was very mid-century modern, but I was like, this is either like a dime a dozen or crazy value. It was difficult for me to like even research it. So like, if one of you guys could get really good at it, that would help me out.
So, yay. But so that's my thing, the mid-century modern plates, and bowl set, which will be fun for having romantic dinners at my house for that special lady who has yet to
I'm not interested. I'm married. Thank you.
Yes. We'll see how married you are when you come out here.
Wait, do you have more than 4? How many of those plates and bowls do you have?
I have 4.
So you can have several people over.
I can have 2. I can have a swinging 70s style tea party.
Okay.
Yeah. With 4
or a
people.
gumbo party. One of the two.
Or what kind
Or
of
just
party?
a regular gumbo party.
Oh, gumbo party. That's true. But we have a very special guest waiting in the wings, who is Julia Wertz, cartoonist, urban explorer, thrifter, lady of many things. Cartoonist.
Cartoonist by trade. Yes.
So we are going to move on to the Trash Dragon of the Week. Trash Dragon of the Week. Rawr.
And we're back. Welcome back, Trash Dragons, and thank you all for sticking around because we have a very special guest. You may know her from her comic strip, The Fart Party, which was ran in the heady days of the 2000s. You may know her from her book Tenements, Towers, and Trash, which is about the New York, about the sort of the history of New York City and a lot of the history of the buildings and like little known stories that you should know about. Or you may know her from the book Impossible People, which is the sobriety memoir published by Black Dog. I didn't know the publisher prior to this. That came out about a couple years ago, and it's a great read. We have our own. This is my own. Well, this is actually my wife's personal copy. We only have one copy per house, but we have the complete bibliography, Wertz bibliography, because we are, in addition to being a friend of Julia, I am a huge fan of Julia. So please welcome Julia Wertz, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay!
Should I have sent you guys 2 copies as an apology?
No.
For getting you out.
No, I think we actually bought this one. So you should send us 1 copy, is what I'm saying. No, I'm kidding. Don't send us. We will. So the first thing I had to ask is regarding Impossible People. Why did you cut me out of Impossible People?
Wow.
You have to tell people what it was first. It was a 2-page comic about.
It was a 2-page
an eBay adventure. Do you want to explain it, or should I?
We'll both. You can add any details I'm missing. I used to hold a prisoner night that would be me and Todd Hansen, former Onion head writer, and Wertz, and my girlfriend at the time, also named Julia, and we would watch The Prisoner, the 1960s psychedelic action TV show. And she came over one time and dropped her into my Greenpoint apartment, and her cell phone, her iPhone, fell in my toilet. So she fished it out, and then I had a bag of rice, so I had to get really fast, and so we threw it in the bag of rice to dry it out, and then we decided later to sell the bag of rice on eBay as Julia Wertz P phone rice, with a starting bid of $420.69 because we were children, and we actually had a bid, and they never paid. So that was the little eBay. That was the eBay adventure.
It sounds like the moral of the story is that you guys are quitters. You try once, it doesn't work, and you're like, So
I got nervous if the guy actually bought it, that like it would be $420, and we'd have to send him a bag of rice, and then it would just become this like bigger thing. And I don't know. I panicked. I was glad he didn't go through with it.
It would have been the cancellation of Julia Wertz.
Sorry, you didn't get flagged on eBay for urine in the title? Don't you get flagged for words like that?
No,
Not back then.
No,
we didn't. Yeah, this went to this went the full week.
Yeah. And I have a screen grab of the ad, and it did say P rice, and then there's a picture of me holding it in front of the toilet. None of that got flagged.
Those were the days before I relied almost entirely on eBay for my income.
I had to cut it out because I had to cut about 60 pages out of the book. And one of the early kind of criticisms or questions about the book was how name droppy it was. But I was like, those are just my friends, and I feel like cartoonists would want to know, like, who's out there being like, whoa, she hung out with Vanessa Davis. Oh my God. Like, she thinks she's hot shit. It's like, those were just my friends. But that particular one, it didn't match. Like, it just kind of like dropped you in the middle of like, here's a totally different friend group. And like, some of them are like known entities in media or whatever. So that one, Joe, you and Todd were too famous, so you had to go.
Yeah,
the star meter was too high.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And now I'm the one who's being name droppy for my famous friend Julia, who just got back from a European tour. So, but anyway, let's talk about thrifting, and what is your history with thrifting? And like, are you currently a thrifter, or
always? Did it just out of necessity as a kid, and then like most people got really into it in high school. Like, it was really about going to the boys' t-shirt section and getting t-shirts with things on them. I'm actually wearing one of my best finds recently is like a Minecraft shirt. I don't know if you can. And when I wear
That's
it,
good.
8 to 10-year-old boys go nuts, which is, the market I'm aiming. They like run up to me and they're like, "Where'd you get that shirt? Do you play Minecraft?" And then I'm like, "No," and then they're disappointed, and it's a whole thing. But, it was getting.
Can you even name a Minecraft?
Yeah, no.
I also wear shirts just to disappoint the fans of those people because they're like, "I love that band." I'm like, I don't care. I just like the shirt.
The look on a 9-year-old boy's face when you tell them, they're all just crestfallen, and then they see me for like the truth, which is a 40-something mom wearing a boys shirt, and then they're white. So it was like getting shirts like this, and then using it as sort of like a status thing in high school. You're like, I'm not popular, so I'm going to wear these cool thrift shirts, and they were like 50 cents and just that kind of nonsense. But then I got really into it. I like the resale end of it. Actually, in the last few years, after I finished a book, I got super into the resale part of thrifting because I live in this town it's small, but it's full of rich people. And so when they get rid of their stuff, nobody else knows what it is. And it's not a town that people are like coming to thrift. And there are 2 thrift stores within walking distance of me, actually 3. So I would go and just like check it out and get these good finds and sell them on eBay. And that is how I made my income for a few years. And this came after the urban exploring years where I would liberate stuff from abandoned buildings and sell that on eBay. So it was kind of just said the
Viva la liberation!
Fun fact: I showed some pothole. I sent you the picture of the potholders that were from the
Middlefield.
From I can't remember. Yeah, and it was they still had the tag on them, and
Wait, say more.
I think I showed them on an earlier episode. The potholders from Littlefield, which is like a state hospital.
I think it's Middletown. You're wrong. It was patient-made crocheted potholders from
That's right.
Middletown. Yeah,
Middletown, right? And I had they were really cool. I sent you a picture of them. But in the process of researching them, I found some of the aluminum tags from like they would tag at the state hospitals. They would tag everything with like it would be like the name of the hospital or the name of the institution, and they would have like an aluminum. It would be an aluminum tag, and it have a serial number on it too that would be stamped in. And those sold for $20 a piece.
Those are some of my biggest eBay sellers still. I have because I got a bunch of them. And I wonder if I can find one. They're so small. They're just these little metal tags. And depending on how rare they are, they can sell. I sell them anywhere from like 30 to one I sold for 100 because it was a rare one, and I had a couple. A little bit of a hoarding issue. So yeah, those continue to be some of my best eBay sellers. It's just they are.
Yeah, I remember we found it. I can't remember where it was, but I went with you a couple times, and we stumbled across just one of the sort of like laundry room bins full of telephones, and each one of them had these tags on them. So we're just like, it was like harvesting. It was like harvesting a crop. We were just like pick.
Yeah, urban exploring definitely has a picker's vibe to it if you're looking for stuff.
You got to set the scene for this. So you two are going into
at Harlem Psychiatric Hospital, which is in Dover, New York, and they just had, or it might have been at Hudson and Poughkeepsie, but it's an abandoned asylum. And I would like take Joe to these places, and then you crawl through tunnels and you get into the old asylum buildings, and there's just stuff everywhere because they just board these places up and leave. They don't empty them first. So. Yeah.
At night or in day?
Oh, in the daytime.
Both, but I think Joe only did the daytime ones.
I'm a coward.
Headlamp? Do you have a headlamp on?
Yeah.
Do you have light or?
Yeah, they always wear a headlamp and a flashlight. Sometimes a mask if there's like loose asbestos. And
then a backpack or a bag. Sorry, I'm just so
you have a backpack and then like usually a camera bag because I'd carry like a big camera. Beanie because it's always cold, the light on top, flashlight, and then always like a Leatherman because there's a lot of unscrew stuff and
So
yeah, then we found just a bunch of telephones and they all had these. I feel like I should go get one of the tags just because we keep talking about it.
You can send a picture of it later if you want.
Okay, fine. Fine.
Well, if you want to get it, you can. I won't. Stop,
it's too late, Chris.
Stop you. Okay, no, I'll go.
So, what's the best thing? What is the best thing you found when you were urban exploring?
Okay, that's such an impossible question because I still live in like this whole room, and basically my whole house is still all this stuff that I've collected. So that's like an impossible question to answer because there's just so much of it. But I guess one thing I did pull, because I tried to stick to the thrift store theme. I didn't want to walk you guys through all the urban exploring stuff because that's a whole nother, that would take me forever.
That's a different episode.
Yeah.
That's part Julia Works part 2.
Yeah, I would happily do a whole episode of my entire house if you guys wanted to. Hint, hint. But this is a patient file that it was from Hudson River State Hospital. It's huge. And then inside of it, it's just this woman, Norma Pearson, but it's like her whole life story. She was at the asylum for a really long time. And then in the back, all these letters fell out. Have some of them are still in here. So, I'm all sidetracked now. So there's all these letters in here, and they're handwritten because she had fallen in love with another patient, and they sent each other love letters in the asylum, and then after they got out, and he got out, and his letters got increasingly unhinged as he was out and about in the world, and then he got committed again, and then he was reunited with his love because she was still there. So that's one of my favorite finds. That's not just like a physical object of metal, a lot of doorknobs and glassware and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, like I said, I tried to stick to the thrifting thing for you guys. That was also tough.
Well, let's see what you got for thrifting. What do you show us a little something?
The first thing, okay, this actually does start with urban exploring. I lied. I wanted to
Already.
There is, in my hometown, there's this, what we used to call the castle, because it looks like a castle ruin up in the hills. And we would like go up there and smoke weed and then just be teenagers. And I would go up there like once every few years. And it used to be actually a hot springs resort. And from the late 1800s, and it burned down like 7 times through. Those were arson. And it was recently purchased by the guy who owns Restoration Hardware. And he thinks he's gonna build, like, bring it back to life and make a hot springs up there, and it's gonna burn down again because it burns down every 10 years. Anyways, so it used to be, it was like a hotel and a hot springs, and they also made seltzer water there. So it was Napa Soda Springs. So first I was, it's on a hill, and then down at the bottom there's this little creek that comes down the hill. And one day I was looking in the creek, and I noticed all these shards of glass, and like old glass is really thick. And it's usually like light blue for seltzer bottles. And all the different shards, and you could see some of the text on them. And then I found, going up the creek towards turned out to be the dump for this place. Then I found this, which is like a broken piece of a bottom of the bottle. And it was also, Napa. So it says Napa Soda, Jackson's was the brand. And I was like, I gotta be able to find a whole bottle, even though this is all shards. So this is piece number 2. Then I brought my now husband up there, and we found this one, which is melted from the fire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but you can see all the text is still there. Jackson's Napa Soda. And we were like, we have to be able to find, and these are really rare, these ones on, you can kind of buy them on eBay every once in a while, but they're pretty expensive. Then we found a whole one, but the top was off.
Whoa.
It is glued, but it is whole. It's a whole seltzer bottle.
That's awesome.
That was rad. And then I got really into the history of all of the hot springs and seltzer makers, because they usually go together, around Northern California. And I live in Agua Caliente, and the area I live in is called the Springs of Sonoma, and it had a lot of resorts and a lot of soda springs. And about a mile away is Boys Hot Springs, and they had a water company, but finding their bottles was very rare. So at a thrift store one day, I came across the very rare Boys Hot Springs.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Nice.
Like in with the other stuff, like
So it's just like,
so.
it's just in with like, here's a vintage milk bottle, here's a Listerine bottle,
Yep.
here's some glasses. Oh, and here's this thing that is actually really cool and
That's
valuable.
awesome.
Oh, nice.
And
That's
very hard to
awesome.
That's very cool.
So, that's number 1. Number 2, this was at a thrift store somewhere in Oregon, like one of those little coastal towns that aren't one of the ones you normally stop in. Those stores where they're like a bunch of different booths, like
Yes.
owns the different booths, and then
Like antique shops or antique stores or kind of
antique
antique
mall.
malls.
it's like mall, antique mall. So it's one of those, but like a real junky one. And you know how sometimes like the further back in the store you get, you're like, this booth no one has frequented.
Oh, yes.
Many a year.
Mhm.
So I was looking through this guy's paperwork and like other just junk he had, and the owner was there, but not the actual guy. And he's like, no one's looked at that booth in forever. And then I saw
That booth is haunted.
so then I saw this matchbook, which is the World's Fair.
Oh,
Yeah.
The New York World's Fair.
1964, I'm a huge 1964, 65 New York World's Fair fan. Like I have a big history with the place. Made comics about it. So I found that. And then I asked the guy, I was like, hey, does this guy have more of this stuff? And he was like, oh, what is that, like a state fair thing? And I was like, yes,
Yeah.
state fair. And he had a spanking paddle. I don't know.
no.
It was a Switzerland, so they had all the different countries came to like represent there. So this is Switzerland.
Wait, how is that how do you know it's a spanking paddle and not like a bakery paddle?
It's probably a bakery paddle, but I've got a child. Threaten him with this.
My grandmother had a cat of nine tails that threatened my dad with, so and we turned out fine.
Yeah, sure.
We turned out fine, which no
Then
entertainment.
there was this, which is like
What
a
is
little
it?
date book thing.
Oh,
Wow.
neat. Oh,
And then-
cool.
Ashtrays
Oh, wow.
and a board game, and then possibly the ugliest collectible I've seen from the World's Fair, which is like I think it's just like a liquor bottle. But this
Oh,
is
I
hideous.
love those bottles.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
And they're a thing. Yeah, I get really
And they're
excited
like-
about those.
stamps and postcards. And he just had this massive collection and I was like, how much do you want for this? And the guy was like, I don't know, $5. So
For the whole collection?
there's so much more. Yeah, I didn't even it's all around the apartment, so or the house. I didn't want to undo the whole thing. Yeah, I have like a box of just for
Some of these tchotchkes are load bearing, so it's
the ashtrays are holding up the whole downstairs. So I just want to unassemble
How
them.
valuable is the collectible, like from
yeah.
that World's Fair? Is it pretty
World's Fair
valuable?
stuff is not that rare. So I mean, if it's a rare thing, it can be like a couple hundred. But this kind of stuff is like we're talking like $15. But all together,
Yeah.
maybe
Oh,
a
wow.
cool 100.
Is that so? That's
Cool 100.
Yeah,
that's the 64, 65 World's Fair.
yeah.
Which I have actually multiple. I think I have the full set and a lot of duplicates of the
You have
glasses.
the cups,
Yeah,
right?
I
Yeah.
had and I had a bunch of. I also had a bunch at an auction several years ago. I bought a bunch of glasses from the 39 World's Fair as well, and they were just beautiful,
Oh.
very deco looking printing.
Oh.
It was all, and they all broke over time because I like a chump. I used them. So it just made everybody else's more valuable, I suppose. You're welcome.
Okay, so but here's the thing. This is a really good find because you know how you guys have like the trash dragon thing.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So my brothers and I call what would be a trash drag. There's levels of thrifting, or stuff in your house. When you get stuff and it's usually from the 70s and you're like, I love it, and then you bring it home and you're like, oh, this was a bad move. And then you keep it, and then you have another thing, and then pretty soon you just have a shelf of gross tchotchkes. So we call that Dark Eddie. My brother made up the term, and it works perfectly. So there's different levels of if maybe you bring something home and it is almost sort of useless garbage, like a Dark Eddie, you think it's cool, and you get it home and you realize it's trash. But if it's useful, maybe to put your toothbrush in or something, that's gray Gary, and so that's okay. So there's different, but Dark Eddie is the worst. And then I found, we've been using this phrase for years, and we use it for a house.
Do you-
When it has a junk drawer.
Do you have a whole system of going from Dark Eddie to Gray Gary to?
It's
Yeah,
like
but
a
if someone
Combine
says
security
something-
chart.
Is Dark Eddie, you cannot get it. So if we're all out thrifting and you're like, look at this, and someone says Dark Eddie, you have to put it down and walk away because you don't want a house full of Dark Eddie. That's how you become a weird hoarder. So
Yeah.
This was like so many years ago we came up with this term. We use it constantly. I now have friends who use it. And then a couple months ago, I was at the thrift store and I was like looking through picture frames picture frames. That was number 3. Okay, we'll revisit this. I was looking through picture frames and I found a frame of the darkest Eddie. It's Eddie
Van Halen?
Van Halen?
Yeah. And I was like, this, and in a gross, like, cheap, and I was like, this is the darkest of dark Eddie anyone has ever found at a thrift shop, so I have to buy it. And he lives on my desk. So that's my trash dragon. The picture frame, okay, that was number 3. So first I found this picture frame, which is it's like from the 20s. It's like a really cool metal Art Deco kind of thing. So it's engraved in the bottom, but I couldn't really find much Romart mark. Anyways, I had the picture frame for a long time, and then I went to an estate sale, which I feel like kind of counts as thrifting.
It totally does. Anything secondhand. You can find it, even if you find it on the street, works.
Oh, okay. That's a whole, oh my God. We could do a whole episode of just my street finds, but we won't.
Your street meat, as Katie likes to call it.
We will be doing a street meat episode. You can join. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll be on that one because a lot of stuff in our house is found stuff. So, my neighbor when I first moved to this neighborhood, I was out jogging and I met her. Her name was Olga, and she was in her late 90s, having some memory issues. I ran into her. She brought me into her house and like showed me. She had all this crazy artwork. She was an artist. She was a sculptor and a painter, and her house was just full of all this really like from beautiful and amazing to just like, garbage stuff. She'd clearly been there for decades. And then a few months ago, she was moved to a home. She's not dead. She's still alive. But she had an estate. So her son had an estate sale at the house. And so I went, and most of the artwork was gone. And when a company runs the estate sale, so they don't really know any of the personal history of the stuff. So I went to ask them, and I was like, is any of Olga's art left? And they said that the son had taken most of it and the rest had sold and nothing was left. But if I wanted to go look in one of the side rooms, she had her art that she had bought, but they were like, it's mostly thrift store stuff. So don't, it's not hers. So I went in there and I found on the wall was this, which actually is Olga's, and she had painted it. It's a self-portrait when she was working in a style like a kind of Picasso style. And so she told me, she was like, this is like a one-off. When I was young, I painted it and like, but they didn't know because it wasn't in her style. And it was the only self-portrait that she had hanging in her house. So I got it and I put it in the frame.
That's
awesome.
Beautiful.
And
that's amazing.
Those are one of the treasured things in my house.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it when you can find that, when you can find art, like somebody who had created this piece of art that is like, that they left behind. I actually, my old landlord in Greenpoint, he did, I have 2 of his pieces. One was a reproduction of a more famous painting, the name of which I can't remember. Another one is a painting he did of Mickey Mouse. And I have the Mickey Mouse hanging on my wall by my bed, as a reminder, because it's just so, it means a lot. Like, that house meant a lot to me, and it means a lot for me to have that. It's a great, it's really wonderful. So
he was one of the rare good ones. I had a crazy one.
Oh.
Good one. Yeah.
So if you have enough time to hang out, we're going to do our next segment, which is Joe.
Tales from the Flypt!
Tales from the Flypt. Tales from the Flypt.
All right, Tales from the Flypt is back. We're still with cartoonist, urban explorer, thrifter Julia Wertz, and the question today is: do your friends give you thrifting assignments? Do they say, "Hey, if you see this, pick it up for me"? So why don't I go first? Because I can. Well, Julia, you'll go last. And so a couple, my friend Parissa is an actress who does, she plays Nandor's wife on What We Do in Shadows. And she's been in I saw her in a commercial when I was in Wisconsin. And I was just like, oh, Parissa. Anyway. I'm kind of name dropping here.
For sure.
That's okay. We won't cut it.
I just thank you. I'm gonna use.
Also, What We Do in the Shadows is a great show.
Yeah,
It
makes
really
sense.
is.
So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Tom Sharpling's joke, which is, you know, who's a terrible name dropper? My good friend George Clooney. The, anyway, I have a found yarn art uh, of like 70s like sunflowers. I'll put a picture here that I love. I found it like the first couple months I was living in Atwater in LA. Just on the street, it was just leaning against a tree, and I'm like, mine. And like,
Yarn art can sometimes be dark Eddie and sometimes be fabulous.
This is
I'm
fabulous.
going to suggest that the Dark Eddy tiering should be done in yarn art and hung on perhaps your wall, like in a crocheted form. The levels, the triangle, the pyramid, or whatever it is.
Let's just put it out there. Put it out there to the universe. I hear that's how you make money, according to The
Yeah.
Secret.
Sure.
But instead of money, let's ask for yarn art.
We need a yarn artist or someone who's very good at the crochet art. Yeah. Because the more homey it looks, that'd be great.
And I will hang it on my wall if someone does make that.
I will also take that. But you'd have to give out all the, like, if you want to send us the list of all the categories. I would love that too. We
Grey Gary, Dark Eddy, and Yellow.
Some of the other ones I don't think would pass the PC test, so we're not gonna.
Fair enough. Thank you. And so I do that. My friend Kyle, who runs like a puppet studio that is kind of on hiatus right now, called Ancient Order of the Wooden Skull, but they're brilliant. He wants like a. He always admires my like satchels. I always like have mail bags kind of stuff, and like they're either leather or canvas. And he's like, you always have cool ones if you find one.
Does he refer to them as satchels? Does he say, Chris, I like your array of satchels?
Yeah, he's just like, you always got great taste, Chris, is what he says. I think.
Sorry, and he runs a puppet cult? He has a puppet cult? What's the name of the puppet group?
It's Ancient Order of the Wooden Skull, and it's a stop motion / puppet. No, it's not a puppet cult. It's a puppet studio. Yeah. So he asked for like a satchel, and but Katie, why don't you go?
Do people ask me?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Do it?
I have a few people that the problem is the one person that I'm thinking of is opening a prop store and has for years worked as like an art department guy and so like an art director on stuff, and he is always looking at the last minute. He wants it cheap, and it's like, that's not how this works. This is over a period of time that I could possibly find you the exact boombox that you're looking for, but it's not going to be that I'm going to go down and find you one. Which he needs, he needs to know better. But over time, I feel like more than people ask me, I foist stuff upon people because I want to buy it because it's cool and I don't want to hold on to it. So it's now for you, whether you want it or not. I
kind of feel like Joe is the most foisted on person I know, like just because he has such a wide level of interest, and people are like, well, he loves crazy crap, so they'll buy it. And I feel like, especially when we work together, I feel like you just got a lot of stuff to the point where you're like, nah.
It's probably good that I don't live in Pennsylvania because I would be dropping stuff off.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
when I left Greenpoint, I made Joe take a ton of stuff because I left most of my stuff behind. And then also I made him take something and then ship it back to me, which was a morgue body tray that's like, I don't know, 6 feet tall.
Do you have it? Did you sell it?
No, it's right. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay, wow. And it's like, so it's from the olden times, wooden.
I got it from a morgue at Harlem State Hospital, but I got it like 3 a.m, and I used it to surf down a snowy hill because the cops were coming, and then I had to like hide with the morgue body tray while my friend went and got the car, and then I was like had a life crisis because I was like, I'm 33 and sitting in the snow at 3 in the morning, holding a more body. What am I doing with my life? And then I made Joe take it when I left, and then I made him mail it back to me.
First of all, how much did that cost to mail? Second of all, was it like, what am I doing with my life? But then also maybe I'm doing everything right. Maybe this is all like.
I didn't stop doing what I was doing. I just was like,
Yeah.
oh my God. And then was like, whatever.
Yeah.
This is how I can. This is not how I go down. In a hail of bullets.
That's so good. Hiding in the okay. And it's not haunted? That thing is not haunted.
Oh, I mean, everything's haunted a little bit, right?
Okay. All right. But it's not like moving on its own. It's not.
No.
It's not falling over in the night into
It's
the
not
night.
predicting people's deaths.
Maybe I know all of your guys' deaths, and
Maybe we don't
I'm not
know.
gonna
Send an anonymous letter. I'm kind of curious.
I feel like I have a lot of haunted things, but because I treat them respectfully, that they choose not
That's a
to
good
haunt
point.
me.
That is a very good point. I like that.
Yeah, I also treat AI very kindly. I'm always like, hello.
Yes. So your overlords, your ghosts, and your AI, respect them,
Yeah.
and they will kill people around you, but not you.
Exactly.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
One of the good ones is what they'll say. Joe, why don't you go?
Well, wait. Did you actually? Katie, you did
She
answer
said
the
that she
question.
was a foister.
Yeah.
I'm a foister. But I also I do look for people when they tell me. I also sometimes forget. But I feel like I'm pretty good if somebody has told me an item and I see it, I'll remember in that moment. But really, I should keep a list because I'm sure tons of people have asked me. But more than that, I come home with bags and then I start dividing the bags into shipping boxes, of which I have many. You guys each have shipping boxes that they are going to get sent eventually. I'm great at the dividing. I'm terrible at the actual shipping.
Well, Samhain is coming up, so that feels like a good time to send boxes.
Great.
It's the end of the harvest.
Okay, there you go. Let's root for me. I'll do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go.
We believe in you.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
It's a good thing. You'll be fine.
Unless it's like a pressure of like someone is waiting that they bought the item. If like gifts are for some reason, it's horrible. It's a horrible way to treat your friends. Yeah.
Katie, you have all my insulin. I need it.
Can you imagine? No, I thought I would shit, but like, anyways, it's fine. Regardless, it'll get better. 2025 is my year. Let's go, Joe.
2025 on the way. It's all everything's coming up, Katie. 2025.
Go ahead, Katie, Joe, and Carmen Coconuts. Carmen, do you have any?
Carmen.
I don't really go out that much, but hi, Julia. How you doing? Good to see you again.
Hi, Carmen. Please don't make me.
And now I'm talking to a dog.
Well, that's kind of par for the course. On you talk to trash dragons and you talk to dogs and cats.
Yes.
Just because I love Carmen. Carmen's one of the rare dogs that I actually enjoy, so that's fine.
Good one.
But so yeah, I will break the question down into two different categories. There are I always go out to Minnesota to do this event called Trash and Treasure, which is I've mentioned before, it's a townwide rummage sale or townwide yard and garage sale in Chatfield, Minnesota, where my mom is from. And when we go out, we like divide up, like, I'm looking for this and this. I'm looking for this and this. I'm looking for this and this. And so we'll, keep an eye out for each other. But besides that, every once in a while I'll get a request, but I can't really think. The only thing I could think of off the top of my head is that I have a standing order from Hannah, my wife, for overalls. So if I find a decent pair of overalls that will fit, and the problem is, like, I'm pretty size illiterate when it comes to women's sizes. So I'll be like, how about these? And they'll be like, the fattest man in the world, Guinness Book of World Records size. She'll be like, no. And I'll be like, how about these? And they'll be like junior
Children's
overalls or tots or whatever.
What kind of overalls? Are we talking like Carhartt jeans, soft fabric jumpers? What?
Send a picture. Send a picture. And then send a picture.
Like, really, what she's really looking for. Hi, Carmen. Oh, good jump. What she's looking for right now is, she actually got a pair. She was looking for striped overalls. Like, she was looking for striped overalls with like, they would almost look like a train conductor hat, but they were overalls.
Yes, the railway. Yeah.
Yeah. I find them semi regularly. Find them often enough. And if they fit her, it's a win-win, because if they fit her, she gets a new pair of overalls, and if they don't, they sell very quickly and very pretty for a decent amount. So
they do.
It's a great thing to. Oh yeah, overalls. I sell them all the time.
Oh, here we go. Okay, I mean, I must be overall.
Joe did have a standing order. I forgot about this, but Joe had a standing order for T-shirts for a year or two, where I would just send him pictures of T-shirts, and he would give thumbs up, thumbs down, and then I would just send him a box of T-shirts, and every few months. But after COVID, everything went from $2 to $3 to $4 to $5 or to $6
for those T-shirts. Yeah,
and it's just like at a certain point, it's just too it was too hard to find anything affordable and good enough to send, because then you're just there's like a price, once you factor in what he's paying me and the shipping.
Crazy that LA did that with the T-shirts. Like, I remember the $1.99 and then the move, and then now, like, here they're still like, I think there's still a few places they're $1.99 and $2.99 max, but they're not like the LA T-shirts, because you're not going to buy somebody's Stain Fun Run shirt for $4.99. That's not gonna. It's ridiculous. Oh, well.
Sure, me. I do buy the ones from Shag. The artist Shag he's like the official artist of Palm Springs, and so if you find one from Palm Springs, it'll almost always have his art on it. So it's all like, I pick those up and try to sell them for like $100.
Yeah.
Does it work?
Some I've gotten interest, but never. I don't think anyone's actually bought one. Anyway,
you sell them for $100, and then it turns out you didn't sell any of them.
I said I buy them. I try to sell them for $100 and then not sell them. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not.
So it's either $100 or nothing at all. It's
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. No, you stuck to your guns.
Anyway, Julia.
During the pandemic, got into buying like bags of watches, and then finding the good ones, and then like fixing them and putting new batteries in them. And that
sounds fun.
Makes some pretty decent money. I saw this one watch was like, it looked so cheap. It was like a Salvador Dali like melting watch, but it turned out to be this rare run that this museum did, and I sold it for like $500.
Wow.
And it was not a high quality watch. I'm like, I took it apart and looked at, and I'm just like, this is like whatever. Who even cares? But it was a collectible. So
that's amazing.
Chris, do you see the bags of watches? Do you see the jewelry vases next to the bins and the big Goodwill that's right there? I know in the glass cases they used to do the jewelry vases like stuffed in with the tape on top, and I thought they did watches sometimes.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend getting to the watches though. That's how you end up just having a closet that ticks constantly. I have like my eBay closet, and every time I go in there, all I hear is because it's all these watches I've fixed.
Joe and I had a bathroom that basically did that when we lived together in
Windsor Terrace.
Like, he had like 20 IKEA clocks, and he's like, "What should we do with it?" And so we put it in the downstairs. It was just a toilet and a sink, and so when people would use the bathroom downstairs, they were like always come out really freaked out, because it was all you would hear is because they'd all kind of lined up, except for one. It was really off-putting.
Oh wow!
None of them goes into. Well, my son and his friends, when they come over, so there's like a bunch of toddlers running around, and they know I have a bunch of watches in the eBay closet, so they'll sneak down here and get to the watches, and then come up like all wearing watches.
Wow!
All right, okay.
That's the cool new thing for toddlers.
You love it, yeah.
But guys, I think we might have done it. I think we might have done an A+++ episode. 2 thumbs up.
I think it's 2 thumbs up. I think it's 8 thumbs up.
8 thumbs up.
What? 8 thumbs up episode.
This is that's. I don't even know how we keep on doing it. But we have a clip.
What do you have? What are you working on right now? Do you have anything you'd like to plug?
No, I quit.
just cartooning.
Yeah.
Like right now, like wow, this is. I didn't know we'd have such a scoop on the episode.
I mean, I don't know. You get the book that Joe talked about in the beginning. You can buy that. I won't have another book until 2026, so buy that one. Yeah.
Impossible People, Julia Wertz. We'll have it in the show notes so that you guys can all buy it, and we can put your website and your Instagram if you want that kind of stuff.
Sure, cool. I'm on Instagram.
Yay! Well, I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, just put that into the search bar. You'll find me.
Yeah. All right. So if you want to sing along to the closing song, you can, Julia, but you don't have to. Thank you for watching Show and Sell. If you remember, hit like, share, subscribe, and if you don't, everything is gonna be alright. And if you do, things are gonna be a little bit brighter for us. There's an algorithm controlling all of our lives. Thank you for watching Show and Sell. If you remember, ring the bell. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Julia. That was amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for watching. If you're here, thank you for watching. All right. Bye, everyone.
Hey, thanks for coming, everybody.